Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast. I'm gonna throw a little bit of shade today. I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2027.2.5 and a half and 3/4. The album, Dad AF. Rock on, gold dust, jingle bells, jingle all the way. I thought I should sing a Christmas song since apparently it's Christmas already. I was up at the Costco today, and the Costco had all their Christmas trees out right next to the pumpkins and all that kind of stuff. It's so crazy, this whole idea of the holidays and Christmas, and they try to get us in September with all the Christmas stuff. But I do feel like all of these makeup releases coming out now or being announced now are all about like getting ready to save your coins, save your money for the holiday season. So how more appropriate than to discuss James Charles' new release that he came out with today. Did you guys see this? There's a lot of mixed reviews over there. So let me tell you what happened. James Charles posted a video today that had no audio. A lot of people were complaining that that they were watching the video and it had no audio on it. And I was actually sitting in a parking lot when it came up, so I just put my auxiliary cord into it, and I heard it right away. And he even pinned a comment underneath there and said, "I'm not very happy. My attorneys are talking to YouTube currently. I can't believe this happened." No, I didn't steal this idea of no audio. It's happened before. So anyway, but his video came out and it had no audio on it, which is kind of sad. I mean, you come out with your new announcement of your new palette with Morphe. We're gonna start calling him James Morphe Hill Johnson. What's his name? I cannot keep up with these people, James Charles. Every time I go into YouTube to look up James Charles, I always pull up James Charles, okay? And I think that there's actually a YouTube channel called James Charles. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, channel. I don't have my phone with me. House of Drama phone. This is Peter speaking. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, hi, Jane. How are you? James Charles. So if you didn't know, which you don't know is a lot, Jane and Vivian, Jane's name is James Charles. Oh, by the way, for every person that keeps on commenting on my video saying, are we gonna just not talk about Trisha Paytas, or are we gonna address the Trisha Paytas thing? I addressed it in my video yesterday, my assumptions video. Go over there, you can hear what I have to say over there about that. Okay. So, James comes out with this video, right? And the video is called James Charles Morphe Part 2 Reveal, okay? And he goes in and he does this stunning look, which he credits to, hold on a second down here, it's so far down. You would think that if you were going to credit somebody, you would credit like maybe right underneath the description box. But he goes underneath here and he credits it. Special thanks to, I think, this Vanessa Davis, because he put her Instagram on here. Well, I didn't even look. I guess I should have done my research before then. But yeah, so it must, yes. Oh my God, her pictures are amazing. She has 1.1 million followers on, well, they should be, I guess. So anyway, go on there, Vanessa Davis. You got a shout out from James Charles. Apparently you didn't seem to need it because you're doing so fantastic on your own. Her looks are incredible. But he posted this video today. It currently has 481,549 views on it. And he said, "Hi, sisters. Oh my God, hi, sisters." Do you think he's sister scared about Sister Shane's video coming out today? And we're going to talk about that in a second, because a lot of people are speculating that it was Sister Shady of Sister James to come out and post his reveal of his new thing on the day that Shane is posting the third part of his series. I do think it's an interesting move. Well, let's just talk about it right now. I do think it's an interesting move, okay? I don't really buy into this whole premise that James Charles is posting. I mean, he has an upload schedule. I'm not really into this idea that he posts videos to kind of like shade Shane Dawson or anything like that. I think if anything, James would probably try to stay out of the way of all of that. So I don't necessarily believe that, but I do think it's very, very interesting when there have been 2 weeks, 3 weeks that have gone by and James hasn't posted anything. I think it's interesting that James decides to do his reveal of his new product release on the same day as Shane Dawson, just hours before, okay? You know, he could have done it yesterday. He could have done it tomorrow. He could have done it Monday. He comes out on the same day as Shane Dawson. I'm almost kind of wondering if, because, everybody is speculating that this this series at some point is going to point to James Charles. I'm wondering if he's thinking it's going to drive traffic to his channel, and then poof, they'll come up, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, we should go look out, you know, Sister James and see what Sister James is doing these days. Because Jeffree Star passed him on by. I got a hair. I hope it's not from Jacqueline's lab. But anyways, hanging off my eye right here. Jacqueline! Where's her video? I've been looking for that video all over the place. She hadn't put it out yet. Like her life update video. But anyway, so, I mean, does he think that if it drives traffic to his channel, then people are going to go to his channel and then they're going to be like, oh my God, he put out the most fantastic mini palette that only one person will ever need in the entire world that kind of looks like the Wet n Wild palette? Okay, so anyway, I mean the size does. Let's get into this. So James put up this video, and the video, like I said, is James Morphe reveal. Okay, hi sisters! Oh my God, hi sisters! I'm so excited to finally show you my new mini collection with Morphe that took me 2.5 years. It doesn't say that. 1 year after the launch of the original palette, we wanted to shrink it down and add a mirror to the palette and also condense our brush set to the best eye brushes so you sisters can create any glam look on the go. I am so thankful to all of your support over the past year. Okay? We're just forgetting a couple months there where he lost 3 million sisters, okay? Bye, sisters. Oh, hi, sisters. They came back. Okay, not all of them, but some of them did. Most of them did. Anyway, and then it goes in here, mini collection launching 10/17/2019, and at Ulta locations, James Charles Morphe mini palette, 39 iconic shades, okay? For $23 with code James. Now, what's interesting about, and then it goes underneath there, it says James Charles Morphe eye brush set, 13 perfect brushes for $53 with code James. What's interesting to me about the wording of this, okay, is that it doesn't say 10% off with code James, right? And everybody is, I like to hug myself sometimes. Nobody else will. Do you ever do that? Do you remember that back in the day when you were a kid? No, I just have an itch in my shoulder. Okay. Probably from that hair, that diseased hair. Allegedly. Allegedly. Okay, so anyway. But do you, okay, so people are, like, looking at it like it's 10% off. I think this, okay? I think that his cut of the deal is if they use code James, right? I have actually a few speculations about this, and it's interesting to me. Now, I went in and I read the Beauty Guru Reddit, and we might go in there and talk about that in a second. And I read on Twitter, people are so sister excited about, that doesn't even work, okay? They're so, Sister Shrill, I don't know, okay? Sister Shady, that's me. Oh, Lord, losing fans over that one. There goes another James Charles sister fan. But anyway, people are like kind of up and down about it. It's really interesting what they're saying. They're like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, I have to have it, I have to have it, I have to have it. This is the thing that's super, super smart about it, okay? Is super sister smart, is that you just could go with that for days. I mean, okay, that was kind of sister smart, but that he came up with that, okay? You know, it's kind of, to me, the whole, like, technology Apple model that we go from larger to smaller, quantity, quality, quantity, quality. It's very much the same thing, right? When you look at it, he has, you know, he goes, I'm getting audio text message from Rich Lex. You guys, go watch Rich Lex's video. He got broken into last night in his apartment. I feel so bad for him. Go send Rich some love. So anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, so, you know, he comes out with this palette, and he's going large or whatever, but this is the thing, that a lot of people couldn't get their hands on this palette before. Do you remember that? They're acting like everybody wants it, but in a smaller size, and they just got rid of the larger size of the pans, and they have smaller pans now, and so everybody can have it and have it in a mirror. Well, a lot of people are saying, this is really, really cute, this is really, really affordable compared to what your thing was before. It's $13 less than the huge Artistry palette. So to me, it's like, you're getting a lot less for, like, he's gonna be making more money on this, if that makes sense. If you really look at it and break it down from a business point of view, it's $13 less, but you're getting a lot less product in it, okay? So I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, we know that Shane and Jeffree are coming out with a palette for Shane, right? Manny MUA just released his Halloween-themed palette, which is absolutely beautiful, and I swear by that lip gloss. You know, everybody's coming out with these new palettes, okay? Norvina, ABH, cannot just release them fast enough, okay? Everybody is coming out with new palettes. And James Charles releases a mini palette of the Morphe Inner Artistry palette. So I got up on the Morphe website because I wanted to see if it was sold out. I was like, you know, there was a time that you could not get this palette. Do you remember that? I mean, he'd be like, oh, sisters, we're going to put out a whole new load of palettes, and literally in 30 seconds, they'd all be sold out. You could not get your hands on it. 12-year-olds all across the country were like, Mom, I have to have James Charles back. Okay, so anyway, people could get their hands on it, right? And now, all of a sudden, you can get it anywhere. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this all go down, and I'm like, in my conspiracy, allegedly, I don't know, okay? Was there extra product sitting around? Like, is that what this is? That there was just product that had not been put into palettes, so they came up with a smaller mini palette with a mirror that they knew that everybody would want. It's totally affordable for teenagers. What teenager can't afford a $23 palette compared to a $49 one, right? It's super smart because it's a really workable palette. Everybody loves it. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of people come out and say they did not love this palette, right? Everybody loves it, so it comes out, and it's really smart. It's basically just giving you what you already have for less. The thing is, for those people that already have the palette, how many of them are gonna buy a smaller palette of it? Unless they think, I really did love the palette, now I can travel with it too, okay? But I just can't understand the point of releasing an identical palette just smaller. It just doesn't make any sense to me a year later, right? Why wouldn't you release an entire new idea unless Morphe doesn't really believe in the stock of James Charles these days that he can sell out a palette? But I don't buy that, okay? Even though James Charles has gone through his stuff in the last year, I really, really do believe that James Charles could sell out a palette like that. I do, okay? But it makes you wonder why he's coming up with all of this at this time. So, you know, a lot of people in here have a lot of, you know, mixed feelings about everything that's going on. Oh my God, text from my husband. Gave you a thumb up sign. Let's go in here, and I want to read to you just a second of the Beauty Guru chatter thing on here. So somebody posted it and said, James Charles bringing out a mini artistry palette with Morphe, and somebody said, so is it just a smaller version of the exact same palette? And somebody said, looks like that. And then the people get shaded. They said, bet you he formulated this one too. Yeah, but they did make a really good point in here, though. Somebody says, explains why he lost his SHI Chut over Wet n Wild. And then somebody said the real truth in all of this. And then somebody else said, okay, that made me tee-hee. Because it looks like the Wet n Wild palette, the smaller version of it does. The other thing is, the original palette was released a year ago. Wet n Wild comes out 9 months later with a dupe. So why would you be so upset about it? Oh, because he knew that this was coming out. He knew that this mini release was coming out. So now it all kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? And then somebody said, how dare he copied Wet n Wild? And then somebody underneath here said, this is absolutely not funny. Delete this immediately or my lawyer will be in contact. Okay, and then it goes on here, and somebody said, I swear to God I don't like James, but this is cute for people who want to add pops of color into their collection but don't feel like they need to have pans with so much product that they can't possibly go through it. And then somebody else said, yeah, I think it's quite clever. If more palettes came in many sizes, and it goes through and names all these, realistically a lot of people will never pan a full-size bright colorful eyeshadow, and it's more convenient for travel and storage. And then somebody said, he should include a set of instructions about how to use the palette. Somebody said, I was waiting to buy the palette, and now there's a mini one with a mirror, so this is sort of a good thing for people who haven't bought the palette yet. And then somebody else said, ma'am, you're supposed to hate on him. Please edit your comment accordingly. Somebody said a mini palette for $26, yawn. And then somebody else sitting here, I'm glad he's happy with the idea, and if anybody else out there wanted this in a small size, that's great for them. However, as someone who doesn't want this palette in any size, this just feels like a strange move. I don't know. I think people would have been far more excited for a different palette than the same one, only smaller. I could be wrong, just my thoughts. Even if my favorite palette on earth released in a smaller size, I wouldn't be that impressed and would prefer a new idea over a newer size. Also, why did this take 9 months of hard work on his part? Seems like his part started and ended at saying smaller, yes. This is what's interesting to me, okay? When we want to talk about this 9 months part and how long James said that this palette took him with Morphe, okay? There is indirect shade that I think people aren't seeing, and I think appropriate shade, quite frankly, okay? That Jeffree Star and Shane did in this video. So when y'all come for me and I'm saying that Jeffree Star and Shane are shading, I'm saying like, no, they're showing the truth, appropriately so, and I think they should have, right? We saw Shane Dawson come up with a palette in one afternoon at Jeffree Star Cosmetics, okay, with his team of people, put it into motion, pick the colors, and say go. What the hell takes 2.5 years to come up with a palette, okay? Now, I can understand there being complications and having to change gloves from white to blue and all that. Now, I can understand all that. Picking laboratories, maybe not the most appropriate ones, things like that. I'm just saying, okay? But you're talking about a company like Morphe that has put out numerous palettes, okay? Jeffree Star and Shane basically just taught the world that when you have which is interesting to me because Jeffree is with, Morphe, but when you have a well-run ship, like a cosmetic company, like Jeffree Star Cosmetics, like Morphe, like all these other companies out there, what is taking 2.5 years of intensive meetings and walkthroughs and all this kind of stuff, even 9 months? Are you really spending all this time during it's baffling to me. I just really don't understand it. So I don't know. I call BS on that. I really do. Like, I think it was the intention of showing that in one episode was also to show when these people come out and tell you that I have been working on this for 2 years, yes, the process takes 2 years. Picking the components, putting the components together, the warehousing, the shipping, all of that, yes, that takes 2 years. But all of us sitting around in meetings for 9 months, no, that is not true. That is not how it goes down. And I think Shane and Jeffree called it out in their series. So it's interesting to me that James still holds on to this idea that it takes that long. He doesn't even need to say that, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that's really interesting to me. And I do think like this whole idea of pick your favorite palette you've ever had in the entire world, okay? Is it the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette? Is it Jeffree Star's, I don't know, Alien palette? What is your favorite palette that has ever come out? Is it the James Charles, Inner Artist palette? What is your favorite palette that has ever come out, okay? Now you own that palette. Do you want a mini of it too, less than a year later? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. But there are some people that bought this palette just 6 months ago, and it is a huge palette. I mean, it really is a makeup artist palette. And, like this is the thing. I was talking to a friend of mine about this earlier, and one of the things that she said to me, and she's somebody that knows a lot about makeup, we were talking about the difference between like Jeffree and James. And I was saying, because she was saying like if you look at James' content on his channel, not a lot of it is about makeup. He doesn't do reviews or any of that kind of stuff, right? And he uses the same products over and over and over again. What's interesting to me about this is that Jeffree Star is extremely, whether you love or hate the man, you cannot take away the fact that he is incredibly creative, okay? I mean, this is a guy that I think that in any industry that he was in, whether it was music, makeup, movies, whatever he wanted to do, he could be extremely creative and come up with original ideas. You can't teach that to somebody. You just can't. They either have it or they don't. And the reality is, okay, I just don't think James Charles has a whole lot of original ideas. I just don't. And so this is interesting to me. What he can do is fantastic makeup looks, and I think people can't deny him from that. Maybe he takes somebody's look and steals it and calls it his own, but I think he's trying to be better about that and crediting the people. But he's very good at taking makeup, a palette, and somebody's look and recreating it. And I mean, he could continue to build his channel on that alone. So then if he has a palette that comes out with that, I think that's fantastic. Do I see James, like a year ago, had you asked me this, I think I would have probably said something different. But do I see James coming out with 10 palettes like Jeffree Star and each one of them having a different theme? No, I mean, even Manny's, because all of his palettes don't really fit some kind of common theme, at least he's being creative. I mean, I think that Manny's newest release was just completely original. I loved it. I loved everything about it, right? So he's even coming up with creative and original ideas. So James comes out with a mini version of this, which a lot of people are going to love. He's going to bankroll off this. He's going to make a ton of sister coin off this, okay? I mean, his friends and family are going to have a great Christmas. Let's just be for real. So, but is he able to come up with an original idea for a new palette? I don't know. It makes me really, wonder and kind of worry about James' future a little bit. We've seen him talk in Snapchat filters and Instagram and Snapchat about that he's really struggling with his creative ideas and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that he's washed up at 20. I cannot believe that he got to where he got to be washed up at 20. But I think for some reason he's not really digging into his creativity, or maybe his interest isn't really in makeup to begin with. Maybe his interest is just music and he doesn't really want to be, artistically, he's very talented. If you look at the pictures that he draws and you look at his, all that kind of stuff, he's very talented. He could do a look like nobody's business. But do I think that maybe James Charles won't be doing this in 10 years, I'm starting to wonder. I mean, I'm really starting to wonder. And it's also got to be a little self-defeating now that Jeffree Star has passed him by. Did y'all see that? I mean, he's coming out with a new palette and Jeffree Star just passed him by because of this series. And now Shane and Jeffree are going to release this palette, and it's just it's going to blow everybody away. I mean, it just is, right? Everybody's going to want a Shane Dawson palette that loves Shane and Jeffree, and they're going to make it affordable, and it's just, we're going to see the whole process and, you know, whatever. So I don't know that I think this is the greatest time to release a re-release of what you already did, but smaller, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you guys excited about this? I mean, for people that don't have the palette and it wasn't affordable for them to begin with, I think it's a genius idea. You know, I think that they'll be able to have something that they've always wanted. So let me know in the comment section below what you think. Are you going to buy this? Are you not going to buy it? You could care less. Are you sister over it at this point? I mean, I can't even come up with S words anymore. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.